In an interview with Fox and Friends earlier today, President Trump said he gets along with Rod Rosenstein, gave credit to Mark Meadows and others for exposing what is happening with the Russia witch hunt. Take a look.
I actually get along well with Rod. We have a witch hunt going on, which is disgraceful. And I have to tell you, I'll take these Republican guys with Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan and Gates and Gibbs and all of them. I hate to mention a few names because there's so many of them, and I want to give every one of them credit. These are tough, smart guys. They know there was no collusion. It turned out with Russia. There was collusion, but it was with Hillary Clinton, the DNC, these Republican folks. I think they're becoming folk heroes. These are great, great people, and they want to get to the bottom of it.
I agree with that. The Freedom Caucus, they stand by their promises. They fight. Congressman Mark Meadows joins us right now. Fox News investigative reporter Sarah Carter, The Hill's John Solomon. Congressman, we now have Rod Rosenstein. Let's see. He recommended firing Comey. He signed the last FISA warrant, the third renewal application. And this is a guy that appointed Mueller. Now we have three people saying that he seriously was talking about wearing a wire to invoke the 25th Amendment. McCabe said it. Well, actually four. McCabe said it. Lisa Page said it. Let me think of the other ones. One other person said it.
Jim Baker.
Jim Baker. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, the reporters that you have on, I'm with two great reporters that have done tremendous work on this front. But I think probably the biggest part is the president is exactly right. There is no collusion. He knows it. I know it. Even the Democrats know it. And it's about time that Bob Mueller, he must finish the investigation. It's time to call it quits, because what we're starting to find out are the wheels are coming off. Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS Glenn Simpson, refused to come before Congress. I talked to Chairman Gowdy this evening. The only option we have now is to hold him in contempt of Congress.
Why isn't that happening? And where are the 302s that the president was going to release? Where are the FISA warrants that he was going to release?
Well, we've got to get those out. Transparency is good medicine, Sean. As you know, I've been advocating for that. The president has been advocating, but he wants to be cautious, and I applaud that. You know, he's getting accused left and right of interfering in this investigation, and yet
interfering. They're obstructing congressional investigations. That's your constitutional role, which, to your credit, you're doing. Sarah Carter.
Oh, I couldn't agree more with you, Sean, on this. I mean, look, we have Rod Rosenstein. Obviously, a lot of information has come out in the last few weeks. We know that James Baker, the former general counsel of the FBI, came forward and said, look, we took seriously what he said. He wanted to invoke the 25th. We now know that there were two other... That's right, and secretly record the President of the United States. Beyond that, we also know that there were two other people apparently speaking with Rod Rosenstein. I give the president credit for this, Sean. The president is a great chess player. I think he's making his move now. I think that the president came out. He's been talking to Rod Rosenstein. We don't know what happened on that flight. We don't know exactly what they spoke about during those 30 minutes, but the president is looking and watching. And I absolutely believe that there were other people inside this administration that were with Rod Rosenstein on this, and I think it's going to come out. I don't think it's going to come out next week, but I think eventually the president will make that public if he's smart, and then he'll get rid of Rod Rosenstein. He'll get rid of Jeff Sessions. He'll put other people in place. This is what I'm hearing behind the scenes. This is what I believe will happen.
All right. So Lisa Page, John Solomon, says for 9 months they had no evidence of Russia collusion. This is just before the appointment of Rod Rosenstein and Mueller. And then, of course, even Peter Strzok said there's no there. Now I think with their media leak strategy that we've been able to unveil and report, along with the insurance policy comment, they leaked the information to different news sources. All goes back to the Clinton phony Russian dossier. They leak it all over the place to create an atmosphere that, oh, there must be so much happening. This really happened, when just the opposite is true. The only Russian interference came from Hillary paying for Russian lies that were disseminated to the American people and used as a fraud on a FISA warrant court 4 times.
Yeah, listen, there was a lot of Harry Houdini going on in May of 2017 at the Justice Department. They knew they didn't have a case, and instead they tried to create the aura in the public media that there was a case and it was being obstructed by the president. And I think when we look back in history, we're going to see a lot. I was thinking today, and because of the work of Congressman Meadows, Congressman Jordan, those who've been digging, we now know, I think 2 years ago this month, Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele were out peddling their story to the media, trying to get it out before the election, clearly showing their political covers. 2 years later, Glenn Simpson can't even come anymore and testify to Congress because he has to invoke his right against self-incrimination. How far has this investigation turned from collusion on Russia to collusion with the Democratic Party and the FBI? And it's because of people like Congressman Meadows and Congressman Jordan that bucked the trend and went for the facts and the truth.
And you and Sarah and Greg and others, you guys all deserve credit too. What did I call this year? The year of the boomerang. Quick question, all of you. Will we get the declassified unredacted materials? Mark Meadows.
Yeah, I think we will get them hopefully some sooner than later, before the election, hopefully a small group of them before the election, and we need to have them.
Sarah?
Yeah, absolutely. We need the dossier. We also need the Gang of Eight packet, which will expose the exculpatory evidence that's been withheld from the American people, and the 302s, of course.
John, will we get them real quick?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Before the election?
I think some of it's going to, a lot of it will be after the election, I fear.
All right, thank you all for what you're doing.
Well, the midterm elections are just 26 days from now. Kind of amazing. Too much going on to digest. So as we move closer to Election Day, we're going to take a closer look at particular races and the candidates running in them. Tonight we want to tell you about Kyrsten Sinema. She's running as a Democrat to replace Jeff Flake in the U.S. Senate in Arizona. Illegal immigration has long been an important issue in that state, which shares a long and largely undefended border with Mexico. Sinema in this race has tried to portray herself as a moderate on that question, someone who supports both amnesty for illegal aliens, but also more robust border security. There is growing evidence, though, that she is not a moderate, at least by American standards. In 2006, Sinema declared that illegal aliens who die trying to sneak into our country are morally equivalent to Americans dying in the Iraq War. Here's part of the quote. To state that immigration is not a war or is not equal in magnitude to war, I believe dishonors those who have died in this country and others as migrants. The deaths that people suffer in the Mexico-Arizona desert are the same as the deaths that people suffer in the Iraq desert. They are needless, senseless deaths. That's not a mainstream position, even now in the middle of the revolution we're going through. 3 years after she said that, Sinema described her position on immigration laws this way, quote, I oppose all of them. So if you think that foreigners breaking your country's laws are every bit as good as the citizens dying to defend them, it's possible you may have a problem with your own people, your own countrymen, the citizens of your nation. And Sinema certainly seems to have a problem with them. Here she is in 2011.
For the past several years, people would watch what was happening in Arizona and be like, Dan, those people are crazy. Is it something about the water? No, the water's fine. We stole it from Colorado. There's nothing wrong with the water. They're called Republicans.
Charlie Hurd is the opinion editor at the Washington Times, and a very smart man, if we can say, joins us tonight. Charlie, things have changed so much that this is not disqualifying, saying that the deaths of illegal aliens in the desert trying to break our laws are morally equivalent to the deaths of our soldiers fighting in Iraq. 3 years ago, it would have been over. Does this hurt her at all, do you think?
I certainly hope it does, but you raise a very good point. And what we've seen, you know, everybody talks about what the Tea Party has done to the Republican Party, and I think there was some very healthy stuff there in terms of forcing Republicans to sort of get back to some of their principles. But my goodness, what we're seeing happen to the Democratic Party, a once legitimate party that, that we relied on to keep the Republicans honest, and or the supposedly conservative party honest, and to challenge them, they're getting dragged so far to the left, off the cliff, that I don't know, that certainly would not hurt her in a Democratic primary in any way whatsoever. I do think that it might hurt her in a general election. I mean, you know, a lot of what she said there, it's kind of hard not to conclude that she hates America. And if you hate our borders and you hate the laws enforcing our borders, then you kind of by definition hate America. And that seems to be the campaign she's running on. And then especially if you think about running against somebody like Martha McSally, who is at the very least has served her country,
a career military officer,
and who's made a joke of the fact that Sinema brags about having 100 pairs of shoes, and McSally brags about 100 combat missions. Whether you agree with those foreign wars or not,
right.
And I have a real problem with them. Whether you agree with them or not, the idea that you would compare the sacrifices that our men and women have made in following the orders of the military to illegals crossing the border and dying trying to break our laws and get into the country, it's astonishing.
It's pretty decadent, and it shows you how much Arizona has changed because of
Absolutely.
immigration that she has a shot. Charlie Hurt, thank you as always. I hope you'll come back on this.